Uganda has passed one of the most severe punishments for LGBT in the world, and America and the Western countries are outraged.
President Biden has led international condemnation of new laws in Uganda, which mean that anyone having gay sex can be jailed for life.
Uganda's president is drawing international condemnation after signing one of the world's toughest anti-LGBTQ laws.
They threaten and plan to impose sanctions on Uganda for the anti-LGBT law that was passed to punish homosexuals. While Western countries use blackmail and sanctions, the Ugandan government takes the law into their own hands and changed it to their liking. In this video, we will examine why Uganda decided to punish LGBT crimes and take a look of the timeline of how it got here. This is the rise of anti-homosexuality laws and sentiments in Uganda. Between 1952 and 1973, homosexuality was classified as a mental disorder by the American Psychiatric Association. Gay people were subjected to a variety of treatments aimed at curing their sickness. Charles Silverstein convinced the American Psychiatric Association that homosexuality was not a mental disorder. In 1987, homosexuality was completely removed as a mental disorder in the United States. In 1990, the WHO removed homosexuality as a disease on their list. By this point, homosexuality was illegal in many parts of the world. This paved the way for the WHO and the Western countries to push for LGBT to be legalized all over the world. This brings us to Uganda. The Western countries were embracing the Industrial Revolution at high speeds. As a result, they no longer needed slaves. Slavery was being declared illegal, but the Western countries had a new problem. They needed to buy raw materials for their processing industries. Africa and other third world countries had raw materials in abundance. But why buy raw materials from the Africans when you can just take it by force? And so, the Western countries scrambled and partitioned African countries. Millions and millions of people were killed and Africa was colonized. They didn't stand a chance. The Western countries had more powerful and advanced weapons. The West finally had access to all the raw materials they could lay their hands on: gold, silver, diamonds, agricultural lands, you name it. Aside from taking Africa's raw materials, the Western colonial masters also enacted most of the same laws that were implemented in their own countries. Back in the colonial period, the Western countries were Christian countries that held onto their Christian beliefs, and homosexuality is a sin and not allowed according to their religion. So, they formally enacted the law that made homosexuality illegal in their former colonies. Fast forward today, Western countries have abandoned many of their Christian beliefs. Uganda and other African countries still hold on to their religious and cultural beliefs. They do not accept homosexuality at all and are not tolerant towards it. And therefore, many African countries have left the anti-homosexuality laws unchanged. Homosexuals have always existed in some African countries, and Uganda is not an exception. For the most part, however, they were never persecuted because of their sexuality. The Ugandan president, Yoweri Museveni, have mentioned this in a BBC Hard Talk interview in 2012.
There has been a great focus in the last couple of years in the West on Uganda's treatment of homosexuals. Are you entirely satisfied that homosexuals in your country are having their human rights respected?
The issue is mishandled by the Western countries and their activist groups. Homosexuals in small numbers have existed in our part of Black Africa. They were never persecuted. They were never discriminated. But the difference between us and the Western societies, they were also not promoted.
The Western countries and their billion-dollar media empires kept on adding pressure on the Ugandan government, spilling propaganda against the government, saying that homosexuals are being persecuted in the country. There was a clear effort to push for the acceptance of homosexuality in Uganda by the Western countries. This made the Ugandans rightly feel that their religion and cultural values are being attacked by the West. This just made the Ugandan opposition to LGBT more severe. So, feeling attacked, the Ugandan parliament passed the Anti-Homosexuality Bill in 2014. This bill was signed into law by the President, Yoweri Museveni. Many in Africa feel that the Western countries do not respect African values and are always trying to pressure them into what they do not accept. We are being forced to accept Western values and cultures, just like they did during colonialism. Now, however, they don't use force to make us accept it, they use soft power and the threat of sanctions. In 2014, Yoweri Museveni was interviewed by CNN, where he asked Western countries to respect the rights and values of the African people.
What is your message to Western human rights groups, to President Obama, to lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender people?
Respect African societies and their values. If you don't agree, you just keep quiet. Let's manage our society the way we see. If we are wrong, we shall find out by ourselves. Just the way we don't interfere with yours.
In the same interview, he was asked about his opinion on homosexuals, and he calls them disgusting.
Do you personally dislike homosexuals?
Of course, they are disgusting. What sort of people are they? How can you go? I never knew what they were doing. That's how I've been told recently that what they do is terrible, disgusting.
Western countries and LGBT rights groups are relentless. They found and set up LGBT associations in Uganda to fight for LGBT rights and also, quote-unquote, educate the people about LGBT people and their rights. They organize protests from time to time, and any opposition to LGBT that they witness in the country is met with criticism by the Western media, which demonizes the people of Uganda. The Ugandan people were getting sick of it, and soon they will enact a law that imposes the most severe punishment for homosexual acts in Africa.
We will have our morals, we will protect our children, and we are making this law, for ourselves, we are making this law for our children, we are making this law for the children of our children. This country will stand firm. And once it passed, I can tell you, Madam Speaker, we are going to reinforce the law enforcement officers to make sure that homosexuals have no space in Uganda.
In March 2023, the Ugandan parliament passed a law that would punish homosexuality with what the Western media described as draconian penalties. The death penalty could be imposed for homosexual acts considered quote-unquote aggravated. The bill has also stipulated prison sentences for up to 10 years for same-sex relations. People who harbor homosexual people, provide them with medical treatment or legal assistance, can also be punished with up to 10 years imprisonment. Aggravated homosexuality could lead to the death penalty. Aggravation is caused when a HIV-positive person has gay sex or having gay sex with children. Of course, this makes complete sense. But then again, Western countries pounced on the bill and continue to demonize Uganda. The United States, United Nations, European Union, and a long list of corporate giants have condemned the bill, which will impose the death penalty for aggravated homosexuality and a 20-year sentence for promoting homosexuality. The Western countries don't learn. The more you try to impose your values on others, the more they will resist them and lash out against you. The US government is considering imposing sanctions on Uganda for the support of the bill. The US has also revoked the visas of Uganda's Speaker of Parliament and a few other people that participated in the passing of the bill. Are the Western countries willing to sanction millions of poor people, increasing hunger and poverty in Uganda and other African countries because of their opposition to LGBT? Well, they have already started doing it. the Western countries have shown us their hands. We either get with the program they have for us, or we get starved to death.